What's going on, CDL fans? Back again with my power rankings after week 3 of stage 2. This is right before the major starts this week. This last weekend was absolutely insane. I mean, we finally got to see all 5 matches for every team throughout stage 2, and these qualifiers were totally crazy. This past weekend actually totally ruined my concept of how the league is right now and how these rankings should be. Let me just preface this by saying this is probably the least confident I've been in my power rankings so far this season. This is just one of those weeks where so many teams did well, so many teams did bad, but the teams that did bad beat the teams that did good, and there was just so many things where it was hard to put placements on these that I thought were really accurate. So this is just what I came up with. This is my opinion. Obviously, if you disagree, you can let me know, but I mean, let's just hop right into it and we can explain as we go. Kicking it off to no surprise is Paris at number 12. They actually didn't look terrible. I mean, they beat Toronto, which is actually something that's pretty good for them. This team does not look like a total pushover, but I still think they look like the worst team in the league. They definitely could, make a run at the major. Do I think they will? Probably not, and we'll get into that when I get to my bracket prediction video, which will be coming out in the next couple days. But I don't think Paris should be up higher than 12. Then we move on in to number 11, where I have the LA Thieves down 4 from last week. So I had them at 7 last week. Obviously, LAT went 0-5 throughout this stage. They just don't look good. They don't have any ice. They can't clutch up in any factor. I mean, they got 1v3 2 rounds in a row by Seattle. This is a team that I had a lot of faith in, and right now, honestly, I don't know how much faith I want to put in them. I know what they're capable of, especially because we saw it already this season. We saw how good they were earlier on in the season. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this team. This is the kind of roster where, if you want to base it off past results, I really don't think they're gonna, do well at the major, but I also feel like they could do well at the major, so I'm not really sure what I want to do with them, but I have them down at number 11. Coming in at number 10, I have the Toronto Ultra down 5 spots. Now, Toronto is a team that I picked to win champs at the beginning of this season, if you saw my video. And this team just does not look good. Their teamwork doesn't look like nearly what it was last year. They are super inconsistent. Last year, Cammy was a top 3 player in the league, arguably, and this year you'll see him drop a 1.5 KD, and then the next map he'll drop a 0.5 KD. And this is just a team that overall has not honestly looked good. Insight does not look as dominant as he did last year. Bance has been struggling. Kleenex has looked like their best player, I'd say, consistently, but they've also had COVID problems, right? Kleenex had COVID, Bance has COVID, so they definitely had some problems with their health going into this throughout the stage and going into this last weekend. So it's definitely a team that I think is still possibly going to do well at the major. But like I said in the beginning when I started these rankings, I want this to be somewhat affected by recency bias. I want this to be based on recent matches. I don't want this to be a projection of what these teams will be. This is based on what they've done now. So I'm not taking into what they're going to do at the major or what I predict. This is only what they've done throughout this stage, and I think they deserve to be down 10. Then we come out to a number 9, which I have Minnesota Rocker down 3. I didn't want to drop Rocker so much, but I also had to this is confusing, right? Because I knew I had to drop Thieves and Ultra, right? Because both of these teams have been really struggling, but there's also not some teams didn't necessarily deserve to go up and they ended up going up. So like I said, this isn't the greatest power rankings I've ever done, but I have Rocker down at 3. Overall, this team just doesn't look great, right? Obviously they struggle in respawns, and this is just a team that kind of you never really know what you're going to get. I mean, they're starting at losers at the Minnesota Major, which is kind of unfortunate for them. Hopefully they can make a run for the sake of the Minnesota fans there, but I don't necessarily know if I see that happening. Let me turn off my light because it's starting to get a little sunny out here. But yeah, moving on into number 8, we have the Florida Mutineers. I don't know what happened to that number. Let me slide that down real quick. Florida Mutineers were at number 8 last week. They're at number 8 again. This is just a team where they're good and they're bad at the same time. I just haven't been able to find a way to move them up or down based on how other teams are performing. So they've kind of just been sticking around this number 8 spot for the last few weeks. Then we move into number 7. We have the Seattle Surge. We're up 3 spots from number 10 last week. I think they went 2-3 in this stage. Obviously they beat FaZe, who was a top 2 team, and then they beat LA Thieves. So this is a team that looks good sometimes and also looks bad sometimes. I never really know what I want to do with Surge. Like I said, I had to drop teams teams. So Surge inevitably went up simply because I wanted to drop teams like Ultra and Thieves. So I would keep Surge right around this rank between 7 and 9, somewhere in there. I think they're on the level of Florida and Rocker. Then move into our number 6, and that is the New York Subliners. Now, arguably, I think Subliners could be top 5 simply because this is, you know, this is a new roster, and we've seen 3 matches of them, right? And they've won all 3, and they've looked pretty good. So I think jumping up 5 spots is pretty reasonable for them. I really think you could put them in the top 5. I do think that is something you could do. But the only reason I have LAG at number 5, up 4 spots, right above the Subliners, is just because we've seen this LAG roster all year long, and we kind of know exactly what they can do. I do think LAG Subliners could be swapped, and part of me actually wants to swap them, but just for the sake of this, I'm just going to keep them at 6 and 5. Then we move into our top 4. To no surprise, I'm just going to show these all are the same as they were last week. I think this is our solidified top 4 currently in the league, right? You have Boston, who went 4 and 1. You have Ravens, who went 4 and 1. FaZe went 3 and 2, I believe, technically. Why did some of these numbers slide up? FaZe went 3 and 2, I think, technically, and obviously OpTic went 5 and 0. I think these are definitely the best teams. FaZe didn't have Simp. They had Prestini subbing in, who also looked pretty good. I think it would be interesting. I think Prestini might be offered some spots on some teams maybe going forward, because he did look pretty good against OpTic. He had the most kills on FaZe against OpTic. This literally being like the first time I feel like he's played Vanguard competitively all year long. So I think these are solidified top 4. I don't think anyone really can argue that. Ravens obviously beat Breach, so definitely number 3. If Boston would have beat Ravens yesterday, I probably would have put Boston above Ravens. Actually, I definitely would have, because Boston would have also been undefeated on the stage. But yeah, I think this is this solidified top 4. The rest of the list is honestly kind of confusing and really hard to do. I really want to know, 1, where would you rank NYSL? Would you put them in the top 5? Because honestly, I think you could. And then also, where do you put teams like LA Thieves and Ultra? Do you think they are all the way down there? Would you put them a little bit higher? Do you still think they're better than teams like Rocker, maybe Florida? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you did enjoy, drop a like on this power rankings video. I'll be dropping my pick'ems for Major 2 coming soon, so look out for that. And with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one.